Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today's video is going to be a fun one, as today we're taking a look at a fully maxed out level 50 Lucky Hundo Torkoal. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Sapphiro95, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now, Torkoal at level 50 gets up to 2370 combat power, and this trainer is opting for a moveset of Ember, Earthquake, and the surprise nuke of Solar Beam. For the rest of the team, they have Credilli as the lead, and they have Shadow Typhlosion as the closer. While this is definitely more of a team for fun than for climbing, I'm really excited to see these battles. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and in game number 1, off to a pretty nice start as Credilli is core breaking a Feraligatr Typhlosion core. Typhlosion is forced to put up a shield as Rock Tomb comes through. There's going to be the counter switch into the Torkoal to hopefully try and catch a Blast Burn. Opponent goes for the debuff Blast Burn. Torkoal able to tank that. Torkoal continuing to farm up as it looks to try and get to an Earthquake. There's going to be a Thunder Punch coming out from the Typhlosion. Typhlosion is going to make it to another Thunder Punch, and we will see Torkoal put up a shield. Torkoal going to be met now with an aggressive switch into a Feraligatr. Oh no. Torkoal, Solar Beam, it connects, there's the screenshot, and down goes Feraligatr. Back in comes the Typhlosion, and we see an immediate counter switch back into the Credilli. Credilli has energy, Rock Tomb is going to pressure the final shield from the opponent, and now a tough call to make. Choosing to use the final shield of the match here, it is going to be on a Blast Burn. Typhlosion is just going to get fully knocked out, and now all the opponent has left is whatever they have in the back. In the back, they're going to have a Skeledirge, so they are also running a double fire strategy. Rock Tomb will apply big damage and a debuff. They have no ability to reset, and that means this Shadow Ball will not come close to knocking out. The opponent is going to fire off a move. They opt for a Disarming Voice, knowing that the Shadow Ball is not going to KO, so they may as well just have some fun and throw the Disarming Voice. Thunder Punch KOs the Skeledirge and takes the win. We move to game number 2, pretty okay lead for Credilli leading into a Tentacruel. It looks like the opponent may not have realized the battle started. There we go, now they have started tapping, so the opponent is a little bit behind. I've definitely done that before, where I'm waiting in queue for an opponent, I'll set down my phone to do something, and then realize that a battle started, and I have to panic, run back to my phone, start tapping, hope I'm not behind, so I've definitely been there. The opponent is obviously going to be spamming out Scalds in this matchup since it appears they do not have access to Blizzard, and now that their attack is 2 stages debuffed here, they're at -2, this Scald is not really going to do much of any damage. Credilli will get to yet another Rock Tomb, and unless they decide to shield, they're probably just getting knocked out here. Down goes the Tentacruel. There's going to be, oh my goodness, in comes Virizion, going to be answered with Typhlosion, and the opponent is going to bring in a Typhlosion of their own. Opponent will fire off the Thunder Punch. We do see the shield, and now the Shadow Typhlosion is at the back-to-back moves. Thunder Punch number 1 is going to be shielded. Opponent tries to CMP tie, but the Shadow Typhlosion will just take the free Incinerate. Shadow Typhlosion will get to farm up to the back-to-back Thunder Punches. This next move will be a charge attack priority tie. Will we see a switch? We do see a switch. There's going to be the catch onto the Torkoal. Torkoal going to absorb that Thunder Punch, and now in comes Virizion. Unfortunately, due to the choice in moveset here on the Torkoal charge attacks are actually walled, and this is a Stone Edge Virizion, which means that Virizion is able to output a ton of damage. Torkoal is going to make it to an Earthquake, not going to do a ton of damage, but all damage will help. There is a Thunder Punch banked on the Typhlosion. In comes the Credilli, and the opponent throws the move, anticipating that it would be the Typhlosion. Leaf Blade picks up the knockout. In comes Typhlosion. Typhlosion will throw 1 Incinerate and the Thunder Punch to pick up the knockout, and then should be only 1 away from the game-winning Thunder Punch into the opponent's Typhlosion, and there it is, right on cue. Thunder Punch KOs the opposing Typhlosion. Things got a little bit scary there in the mid-game, but able to save it and take the win. We move to game number 3, and it's a great lead for Credilli leading into Feraligatr. Feraligatr going to stay in this matchup. No, they pivot out into Golisopod. Golisopod really does not like being down energy here, as it's immediately under threat from a Rock Tomb. Golisopod going to be met now with the Shadow Typhlosion. Typhlosion going to look for a 1 shield farm down play, as Aqua Jet, even at -1, would hurt quite a bit. Typhlosion exits with 1.5 Thunder Punches loaded. Feraligatr instantly met with the Thunder Punch. We do see the shield come out. Thunder Punch would not knock out, but it would inflict some pretty significant damage. Typhlosion no shields. It's getting KO'd by the Hydro Cannon, and now out comes Credilli. In the back, there's a blast from the past Escavalier, but it's not running the fast move that he used to run. Instead, it's running Bug Bite, which obviously got a big buff this season. Escavalier was one of my favorites back in the day, but post-counter nerf, it hasn't really found a lot of usage. I honestly completely forgot that it learned Bug Bite as one of its moves. Escavalier is able to grab the final shield from the Torkoal. Back in comes the Feraligatr, immediately met with the Earthquake. If the opponent knows that Torkoal is very slow to get to moves, they can probably just farm down here. They're thinking about it. No, they get worried. They did not know how slow Torkoal is, and that is just going to win the game as Credilli does have the Grass Knot loaded. So back in comes Credilli. Grass Knot KOs the Feraligatr. Credilli continues to put in a lot of work in these early games, as that's going to be another win. We move to the next game, and we have the Battle of Credilli. Is the opponent going to be on acid? Yes, they are. So the opponent will have slightly slower pacing, and therefore it makes sense for the Bullet Seed Credilli to throw an alignment to apply the Rock Tomb debuff first. Opponent does end up making a misplay here with their timing, as they do give an entire free Bullet Seed. Rock Tomb is going to land, but now this is going to set up the Bullet Seed Credilli to fire off the Rock Tomb on perfect timing. This Rock Tomb is going to land at some point. If the opponent ever throws and they're low on energy, could potentially be a good time to switch out. Choosing to stay in for now. Rock Tomb will not knock out here. We see a safe switch to Torkoal. Torkoal going to be met with the Rock Tomb, but it's heavily debuffed, so we will see the no shield. Rock Tomb is going to debuff the Torkoal. Out comes Jellicent. Oh my goodness. Torkoal getting to the Solar Beam. This Surf will not knock out. Obviously, the Solar Beam has been debuffed by the Rock Tomb. Come on, can it land? Torkoal charging up the Solar Beam. Do they respect it? No, they do not, and the Solar Beam connects. Unfortunately, the opponent is able to survive due to the fact that they did have that Rock Tomb debuff applied, but still some pretty respectable damage. Credilli is able to pick up the KO in the back. Oh no, it's Victory Bell, answered with Typhlosion, incinerates, burning it all down, and the opponent will concede the match. Decent lead for Credilli in the next match, leading into Skeleturge. Opponent is going to safe switch into their own Credilli. Credilli farming up, trying to get to the Rock Tomb, but by over-farming, the opponent is actually able to apply that Rock Tomb debuff first. Rock Tomb is going to land. Oh, it actually ends up being on a charge attack priority tie. Rock Tomb is going to connect, but the opponent getting the debuff first is a little bit unfortunate, as now, obviously, they got to land their Rock Tomb at full power. Rock Tomb number 2 is going to connect. Opponent going to return fire with their own Rock Tomb. At some point, a switch out will probably look to occur, especially since the opponent is so debuffed. But first, we will see the Grass Knot. This Grass Knot is at -2. Grass Knot not going to pick up the KO. The opponent will throw a move here, and this will set up a nice farm for either one of the fire types in the back. We're going to see Typhlosion hit the field. A 1 Incinerate head start can go very far. Opponent brings out the Skeleturge. Typhlosion farming up a ton, not gonna bait, going straight for the Blast Burn. It may be resisted, but it still does more. Blast Burn does get shielded. The opponent, highly likely they're gonna opt to go for a Torch Song here because they're just looking to boost up their attack as much as they possibly can. This will be the second Torch Song and another CMP tie. Very nice over farming here with the Typhlosion. Typhlosion is able to grab the final shield of the match. Typhlosion putting up its final shield as well as another Torch Song comes out from the Skeleturge. Typhlosion will be able to hang on and make it to one final Blast Burn. This is going to be game over for that Skeleturge. What do they have in the back? It's another Victory Bell. Victory Bell able to acid down just to be met with the Torkoal. Torkoal will take some pretty significant damage from Sludge Bomb, I would imagine. This is the non-Shadow Victory Bell. The Sludge Bomb is going to land. Uh-oh. Is the Victory Bell going to pull off this win? I believe that's a CMP tie. Does Torkoal hang on here? Torkoal Sludge Bomb. No, it gets KO'd. And the fact that Torkoal can't get the 2500 CP at level 50, unfortunately, will end up costing it the game. We move to the next match, and the opponent just safe switched a Venusaur. That's going to be one shield fully farmed down by the Typhlosion, and Typhlosion will get to exit with a massive amount of energy. Shadow Typhlosion with 100 energy has to be one of the scariest Pokemon in the game. In comes Skeleturge, and unfortunately it looks like the opponent did not get their fast move through as Skeleturge hit the field. We now see back-to-back Thunder Punches locked and loaded for the Typhlosion. Thunder Punch number 2 is going to connect, and Typhlosion is, of course, going to be winning that charge attack priority tie. So Typhlosion already just putting the team on its back. In the back, it's going to be the Greninja that was their lead Pokemon. Greninja will get to fire off a charge attack here. Will they go for the Night Slash? No, they full send the Hydro Cannon, but now the Greninja will be permanently debuffed for the remainder of the game. Their attack now down by 1 stage. They may look to try and go for a Night Slash. It's a Hail Mary attempt to undo that attack drop, or will they just go for the damage of the Hydro Cannon? They go for the Hydro Cannon, but at this point, Hydro Cannon won't even two-shot. They're going to need 3 more moves. Rock Tomb is going to land. They realize there's just no way to get through this Credilli, and they will resign the game. We move to the next match, and it's a terrible lead. Forretress staring down Credilli. Save switch Typhlosion answered with a Drampa. Drampa is a full wall to energy from Typhlosion, but I don't think anyone told Typhlosion. Typhlosion can apply so much pressure to Drampa. Typhlosion will be able to force both shields from the Drampa and then potentially set up the Torkoal where it would want to be, which is the 1-0 shield, considering it is only running the nuke charge moves. But no, the opponent gives up switch advantage. Oh no, Drampa gets KO'd by a Blast Burn. They're gonna bring in Credilli. Credilli will get the farm down, and now we'll have Credilli versus Credilli, and that poor Forretress's fate has been sealed as it's getting burnt to a crisp by Torkoal in the back. Credilli farming up. There's the catch attempt. In comes Torkoal, and it's time. These embers adding up onto this Forretress. Forretress returning fire with the Rock Tomb. Just looking to debuff this damage, but they're still just getting shredded. Earthquake reached by the Torkoal. This is neutral and debuff damage. It's not going to knock out, but the fast moves after will, and there's just no way forward for the opponent in this game. They have to throw to get rid of the Torkoal. They would not have been able to acid down, and in doing so, that means that they are going to be the one who gets debuffed first in the Credilli mirror, and that is unfortunately going to be what loses them the game. As the Rock Tomb is able to land, no one move is going to KO from this health range. Credilli is going to be shielding up because obviously it gets to apply more debuffs momentarily, so now the opponent is forced to throw at -2 attack. This Rock Tomb is going to be shielded, and from here, the Grass Knot will be reached. This is only at -1. The opponent knew they had to build up to the back-to-back moves. Grass Knot KOs Credilli, and that's going to be another win. Hopping into the next game, Credilli versus Victreebel. 2 better responses in the back for sure, so in comes Typhlosion. Typhlosion answered with the Tentacruel, and that is not really an answer to a Typhlosion. Obviously, 1 Thunder Punch will not knock out, but a 2nd Thunder Punch will be enough to pressure a shield. The opponent is going to be firing off the Scald. We will see the shield from Typhlosion. If Typhlosion can force both shields, again, I feel like that's kind of where you want Torkoal to be in that 1-0 shield scenario, considering that it is very, very hard to get to charge moves when you're running Earthquake and Solar Beam. Thunder Punch number 2 is going to grab the shield. The opponent will still have to throw. And from here, the Typhlosion will get knocked out, but it absolutely did its job. It baited out the water type. It was able to force a shield advantage. In comes Credilli. Credilli could have farmed down, but the threat of a potential blizzard would probably have forced the final shield. Not wanting to play those games, instead, leaving it all up to Torkoal. In the back is Drampa, and Drampa has an Earthquake in its future. Torkoal going to be no shielding as the opponent should be firing off the Swift. Swift does add up quite a bit, and now here is the Earthquake. Earthquake does not get same type attack bonus, but it's able to land solid damage onto the Drampa. Torkoal gets farmed down, just barely missing that farm. That is unfortunate. Credilli is going to respect the fly. There's the fly from the Drampa. Drampa gets fully farmed down, and now it's all up to the battle of the grass types, Credilli versus Victreebel. Victreebel will immediately be debuffed by the Rock Tomb. This is the non-shadow Victreebel. Obviously, Bullet Seed is double resisted, but the Rock Tomb comes pretty close to 2-shotting. This is going to be a very, very close game. A Victreebel last time was able to sneak out a win. Will history repeat itself? They make one final move. Is it the Sludge Bomb? It is. Credilli hangs on, gets the Bullet Seed down. What an incredibly clutch win. Hopping into the final match, and we have one final grass type leading into Roserade. In comes Typhlosion, Incinerate lands. That was a slow switch into the Greninja for the opponent, and Greninja will really not appreciate Thunder Punch. Opponent immediately forced to go down a shield early, and because they gave Tyhlosion such an energy head start, Tyhlosion is honestly pretty fine here. The opponent also did not Night/Bait, they full sent the Hydro Cannon, so now Tyhlosion, if it wants to, can honestly probably stay in here and just completely flip switch. Tyhlosion is going to do just that. We see the double shield, another Hydro Cannon comes out from the opponent. They were probably pretty safe to go double Night Slash, but it's not gonna matter because Greninja gets KO'd. In comes Golisopod. Ooh, nice catch. They're able to save the Golisopod, catch the Thunder Punch onto the Roserade, but now it is Torkoal time. Torkoal farms it down. In comes Golisopod. Golisopod will be forced to throw 2 Aqua Jets to get rid of the Torkoal, and then they just have no way of beating the Credilli, as the Ember damage has pretty much added up to put them into Rock Tomb range. So now it's time. Credilli hits the field. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. All in all, level 50 Torkoal is a Pokemon that I've personally wanted to build for a while. Obviously, they did spawn off of Incense as a part of GoFest 2025, so I had the Tier 3 Fire Mega active. I caught as many as I could. Unfortunately, I just did not get enough XLs. I believe I ended with 168 XLs, which is obviously just over half of what I needed. It looks like this trainer had better luck than me, which is awesome. And they also had the Lucky Hundo Torkoal, which I do not have. I think the best Torkoal that I have in terms of IVs is a lucky one that's like a 15-13-13, which for a Pokemon that maxes below 2500 combat power, you're gonna want as close to a hundo as possible. I think Torkoal, now that it's had more of a global release, could be a really fun candidate to get a move update in the future. We know it obviously has very strong nuke moves with Overheat, Solar Beam, and Earthquake, but what Torkoal is really missing is a bait move. Something like a Weather Ball Fire would be really nice for Torkoal, give it a move for pacing purposes, and because it has had global releases several times in various GoFests, I feel like it's something where people would hopefully, if they don't have it, be able to trade for one. So potentially, even if it never ends up being a huge meta contender, I think it's a really nice candidate for a potential future move update, as it feels like it has pretty fun stats across the board, it has really cool nuke moves as well, and the one thing it's missing is just any kind of bait move, because baiting with Earthquake of all moves definitely puts it on an uphill trajectory. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy watching content like this, please do consider leaving a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.